What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Big Dog Brett. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys being here. There's been probably 50 or 60,000 million, 100 billion different YouTube posts about JT Daniels coming to Georgia, which is great. But who's JT Daniels? If you're an SEC fan and you're not a diehard guy who follows recruiting closely, you may have no clue who this is. You may have somebody telling you, "Hey, Georgia got JT Daniels," and you're like, "Doesn't Georgia have 5 quarterbacks already? Why are they getting another quarterback?" I'm going to tell you why. So first, before I tell you why Georgia went after JT Daniels, let's actually talk about who JT Daniels is. So JT Daniels was a 5-star recruit that was ranked as the #1 overall recruit by Rivals.com in 2018. The #1 overall recruit, not just the #1 quarterback recruit, the #1 overall recruit. Now, there was some teams that were in the mix at the beginning. There's speculation back and forth as to who it was, but that doesn't matter. We're talking about his high school career right now. In his high school career, the guy was, nuts is not the word. It's so during his high school career, he passed for 12,014 yards. 12,000. 152 touchdowns with only 14 interceptions. That's more than a 10-to-1 ratio. He earned the starting position his freshman year, and was a full play caller by his sophomore year. He was calling the plays, not the coaches from the sidelines. If you've ever been to a high school game, most of the time the plays are being called from the sidelines. They turned this guy loose. They recognized the talent. They said, "Hey, dude, do what you got to do." As a junior, in his sophomore year, with him being the play caller, he threw for 4,849 yards and 67 touchdowns. As a junior, he won the Gatorade Football Player of the Year award, and then later the Male Athlete of the Year award. After passing for 4,123 yards and 61 touchdowns, and leading his team to a 15-0 record and a consensus high school football national championship. Held the #1 position for the first week of the season and did not trail at any point in the season, winning every game by at least 10 points. This guy is a generational talent. His high school, by the way, is Mater D, which is weird because normally you think Mater D, you think, yeah. So he is out of California. He went to USC in 2018 as a 5-star career recruit. He started over the incumbent Matt Fink and Jack Sears, or Sayers, however you want to say his name. He's only the second kid ever to do that, to win a starting job as a freshman playing the season opener. In his freshman year, and we all know that freshmen typically struggle a little bit, he threw for 2,672 yards, 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions in 11 games, and he missed a game due to a concussion. Now, the Trojans did have a bad year that year. They were 5-7. But to me, that's part of him getting used to what was going on. And if you look at his numbers, his numbers are actually, I get the interceptions. You take those off the table, his numbers are incredible for a freshman. 2019, of course, he won the starting job again. Matt Fink, Jack Sears, and Kendon Slovis all competed for this job, and he won it again. Now, listen to what I'm about to tell you. During the season opener against Fresno State, he tore his ACL during a sack in the second quarter. At that time, season opener, second quarter, he had already completed 25 for 34 passes and had 215 yards and a touchdown and an interception. He was ruled out for the rest of the year. Slovis took over the starting job, and the rest is history. Whenever he came back following the emergence of that quarterback, the coach Clay Helton decided that he was going to stick with Slovis, and so at that point Daniels entered the transfer portal on April 16th. A lot of people thought he was going to go to Tennessee. People thought he was going to go to. Some people thought Texas. Some people thought LSU. Some people thought Oregon. I mean, there was a bunch of names in the mix. Georgia was not one of them. Daniels made that decision. Apparently, he's coming to Georgia. It was made official yesterday. I was covered up. I couldn't get to it, but you'd have to go. Wait a minute. We've got a graduate transfer coming from Wake Forest in Jamie Newman, and then we've got Carson Beck, DeJuan Mathis, Stetson Bennett, which I don't really think qualifies as a quarterback anymore because it's terrible. Like if we're down to using Stetson Bennett, put in somebody else that played quarterback once or twice in high school and let that guy try because Stetson Bennett did. Oh my goodness. And then you got Brock Vandergriff coming in. So you figure you got Vandergriff, Beck, Mathis, Stetson, Bennett, and I'm losing count here, Jamie Newman, and then JT Daniels. That's 6 freaking quarterbacks. Why does Georgia need 6 quarterbacks? Well, let's look at them. So Jamie Newman's going to be here for a year, and then he's gone. So that's going to leave Georgia with a bunch of probably redshirted freshmen from this year going into next year, depending on how they want to do that. Nothing is proven about DeJuan Mathis. Even though he's a wonderful talent, we certainly want to help him progress, but we don't know what status he's in. We don't know because he only recently got cleared to play, so he may very well not even be viable in the quarterback position. We haven't plugged him in yet. We haven't been able to because we haven't had spring practice. Carson Beck, true freshman. We don't know what we're going to do with that guy. We don't know if he's any good at the college level. What we do know is Stetson Bennett is terrible. So if something happened to Jamie Newman, you've either got to put in 2 quarterbacks that have no experience, a quarterback that has experience but is not very good, or what? That's where JT Daniels comes in. JT Daniels does have experience playing, has a resume that is incredible. And so if you have Jamie Newman who has the starting job and you've got JT Daniels who's a very experienced quarterback who could realistically be the best option as a backup, he's the only one probably that can make Jamie Newman compete for that job. So that's going to increase the level of competition. And at Georgia, you got to compete for a job. You don't just win the starting job. It ain't just yours. You got to compete. So maybe. But the truth is that Georgia, while we've got a ton of quarterbacks coming in, we don't really have any that's ready to play a backup role to Jamie Newman if he has decided to be the starter. If JT Daniels has decided to be the starter, then you've got Jamie Newman as a backup. So where this really affects things is down the road. So in 2021, when we go to play football, you're going to see that, well, Jamie Newman's gone. So that only leaves you with 5 quarterbacks that have to contend. I think Stetson Bennett's going to be gone too, so that leaves you with 3, right? JT Daniels, Carson Beck, and Brock Vandergriff. I'm betting right now one of these guys is going to transfer. And I don't think it's going to be JT Daniels. And I don't think it's going to be Brock Vandergriff. I think it's going to be Carson Beck. Because the next year, JT Daniels is probably going to be the starter. Unless somehow Carson Beck beats him out, I don't know. People are talking about JT Daniels might not even be able to play. Listen, he's going to be able to play. There's pretty much no doubt the guy's going to be able to play, considering the way that the NCAA hands out waivers now, considering that there's been this pandemic, considering that he got hurt in a season opener. He didn't even play 2 full quarters. He could very easily redshirt that on either a medical redshirt or just a traditional redshirt because he played less than 4 games. If you're talking about the transfer policy, they're not going to care. That doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. There hasn't been any news that I can find of where Clay Helton has made any kind of roadblock to prevent this young man from transferring. So I don't see where they're going to get that this guy's not going to play. I'd be willing to go out on a limb and say he's going to be eligible to play. In 2021, you're going to be looking at Daniels, Beck, and Vandergrip. Vandergrip is also supposed to be a generational talent, but he would likely redshirt. So if he redshirts, you've got Carson Beck sticking around possibly as the backup if they can get Brock to redshirt. JT Daniels would play 2021, and he would probably, if he had a really good year, he'd probably go ahead and go pro, because that would put him in the college scene for 2019, 2020, 2021. So that's 3 years. Typically, that's what you see out of a college quarterback, and then they go on to play pro if they can make it. And they don't go in the 85th round draft pick like Jake Fromm. Sorry. That's terrible. That having been said, to me, this is a good thing because it's going to increase the amount of competition in that locker room. Nothing's going to be taken for granted. You've got a couple of senior guys that can teach the younger guys. The younger guys are going to compete really heavily, and then this is going to create for lack of a better term, a trickle down effect to knowledge and information. And with Todd Monken stepping in as the new offensive coordinator, I think it's going to be a really good thing. So, if you're wondering why, it really has to do with the backup quarterback position and having a future experienced quarterback next year. That's my opinion. Somebody who's kind of tried and true instead of just hoping. It's kind of just building a program. Well, that's it for me, guys. That's my opinion. Tell me what you think. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share. The comment button, where did I put? Oh, it's right there. Hit that. We really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Don't forget to go see Uncle Lou, BVD, Big Vol, Daddy, Ballard Sports, Vernon Speak Sports, Bad Dog, and Chess Hall. Oh, and Camel 8 Toes. Have a nice day. God bless. Go Dogs.